Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shmati Bhakti Vikas Swami. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shmati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namne. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashita Deshatari. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. We are beginning on a topic called Sampradaya and Sampradayic principles. It's basically analysis of the concept of following Guru Parampara and Pramanic Guru concept for attaining spiritual perfection. This is a common topic we'll hear a lot in ISKCON. I'm sure all of you are familiar with it. But yeah, a lot of it may be repetition, but it's good to hear. And towards the end, we are going to look at the verses from Garga Samhita and Padma Purana, which explain this concept of Sampradaya. Okay. Before starting, I'll share the screen. Sampradaya and Sampradayic principles. Before we start, I hope you can all see the screen. Yes, yeah, you are sharing. Yes, you can see. Okay. So this is Sampradaya and Sampradayic principles. Analysis of the concept of following Guru Parampara for spiritual perfection. Many people challenge us on this topic. Okay, so we're going to look at two parts. One is Sampradayas, the concept of Sampradayas and disciplic succession. And next we look at Sampradayic principles, the duty or dharma of the disciple or follower who took shelter of the Sampradaya. These things we are explaining now, they're actually something natural which is meant to be followed. It was in the culture, but now it's not like that. It has to be taught. Otherwise, before everyone knew what is a guru, what is a sampradaya, then if one takes diksha or one comes into a sampradaya, that he must follow and adhere to the principles. But now it's not so much like that. Prabhupada is mentioning in all his lectures how we have to follow the guru, follow the principles, Guru Parampara, basically. Okay, Sampradaya. We're going to look at first concept of attaining spiritual perfection. What we mean, because when people say that we'll attain spiritual perfection, everyone has some other strange ideas. Some people think we'll become God, we'll become one with God, we'll enter into a void or a vacuum, Okay, but what is the actual meaning according to Shastra when we say spiritual perfection? Okay, then we'll also look at Vedic methodology, the Vedic system of attaining spiritual perfection, because people have their own ideas made up. Process of acquiring knowledge and perfection through the Veda. So in the Veda, what is the system of acquiring perfection and acquiring knowledge? So it's given there. Okay, next. Lastly, we will look at the 4 knowledge-giving sampradayas. This is in the topic of sampradaya. After this, we look at sampradayic principles. That's the second part. I doubt we'll cover that today. Let's see. The 4 knowledge-giving sampradayas. If we want knowledge, we have to go to this one of these sampradayas. Okay, first point, the concept of attaining spiritual perfection. What does it mean? the meaning of spiritual perfection. Okay, actually, this is what it means. Realizing our identity as a soul and eternal servant of Krishna. This is spiritual perfection, nothing less. Not merging into anything, not losing our identity or becoming merging into the light, Brahma Jyoti. Okay, this is not perfection. Next, purification of material desires. Now, whatever else is following down here, whatever else is following, number 3, 2, 3, 4, is following from the first point. So when we realize our identity as a soul, eternal servant of Krishna, automatically purification of material desires and escaping from samsara chakra. The purification, sometimes some people sometimes some people, they want to purify separately. They're not mentioning about spiritual perfection, but rather they're trying to become purified from material desires or trying to escape the cycle of birth and death, but without surrendering to Krishna. So that's not possible. These things can only fully happen when one becomes a devotee. Okay, Bhagavad Gita says that, for example, purification of material desires. Jitatma prashantasya paramatma samahita. When one conquers the spiritual desires, Jitatma prashantasya, he becomes peaceful, and Paramatma samahita, he comes near to the Paramatma. So actually, but to purify from material desires, we'll have to come near the Paramatma. That is, cyclical. Just like we say that if you control your desires, you can become a devotee and worship God. But even to control your desires, you have to get bhakti. You have to attain some devotion to God. So we see that everything follows from becoming a devotee. Okay. So, okay, I was on this point. I'll continue. So, concept of attaining spiritual perfection. I mentioned purification of material desires and escaping samsara. That means when we get perfection, that happens. Okay, next is Satchit Ananda form. We get our form, which is eternal, full of knowledge and happy, blissful form of spiritual form, basically. So that comes when we attain to our pure full realization of that we are soul and servant of Krishna. And next, achieving our Swarupa, original spiritual form, Vaikuntha. Yeah, almost the same as that. But the point is that we return to Vaikuntha or Goloka, and there we are engaged in the pastimes with Krishna. Okay, this is spiritual perfection. This is the meaning. Okay, how do we attain spiritual perfection? How do we do? Because everyone has their own opinion. I guess you cannot see some of the points I mentioned. The thing is that everyone has their own opinion on what is perfection and how to attain it. But who cares about our or someone's opinion? We want to know the actual way that God has given, and He'll give that in the Vedas. Okay, Veda gives the method. Veda gives the method according to time, place, and person. For example, the Veda has given the method in Dwapar Yuga, in Kali Yuga, in Kali, Dwapar, Treta, and Satya Yuga. It varies. Okay, the method varies according to time and according to place. For example, the method here on this planet will be different from the 6 islands on Jambudvip. You may not understand what that is, but there are very many places in this material world where one can appear and take birth. So the method of purification is different. Okay, and according to the time, the place, and the person, the Veda gives the way. Okay, now the question is, why variation? And that is because people vary according to these parameters. For example, in Kali Yuga, the people are different than other yugas. For example, on this planet, Bharatvarsha, people are different compared to other planets. Okay, time, place, and the person is different. Okay, you have Gandharvas and different people. So variations, okay, but generally in Kali Yuga, it's Nama Sankirtan. And so demigods want to take birth and come here and practice. But there are variations, as I said, according to these parameters. Okay. Now, question is, why can't we find our own path? Some people say, I'll find my own path. Okay, no, we cannot. Why? Because we are in Maya. We are illusion to think we are the body. So because we are in Maya, our intelligence and mind are not perfect and pure. They cannot give knowledge. They are imperfect. Okay. Now, a very important concept here. Okay, because our point is to discuss Sampradaya. Before we have to discuss why do we come in a Sampradaya? Because we want to attain spiritual perfection. We want to attain knowledge. So we have to go through all this knowledge. It's a foundation before we come to that topic. Now, this concept here, Dharmam tu Sakshat Bhagavat Pranitam, is an answer to why can't we find our own path? Let's look at this. Okay. How do we attain spiritual perfection? We're looking at that point. Now, why can't we find our own path? Because the Veda says, Dharmam tu Sakshat Bhagavat Pranitam in Srimad Bhagavatam 6.3.19. There, it's mentioned, real religious principles are enacted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Only the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, can give the principles of religion. We cannot make a system, our own system. So many people have concocted so many different systems, their own kind of scriptures, you can say, in their societies. It's just complete useless. You'll not even advance 1 millimeter by following or reading that. Of course, if it's written Vishnu or Krishna, then we'll benefit. But we need to get the highest path, which is perfect, and that we are sure we will go back. And for that, we have to seek the Vedic knowledge. Okay. So here, these were the points we looked at. Why can't we find our own path? Because the path to God has to be given by God. And because we are not perfect. If a perfect person is there, then he could do it. Now, who is perfect? Now, in this material world, no one is perfect. Okay, going on now. We looked at Sampradaya, the concept of attaining spiritual perfection. Okay, now we're looking at Vedic methodology. What is a Vedic method? Again, a lot of you might have heard these concepts again and again, but it's good because I don't know what is everyone's level, and it's good to go through it again. Okay, Vedic methodology. We're going to look at the meaning of Veda and origin and purpose of the Vedas. Okay, meaning of Ved. Ved, as you know, perfect knowledge. Veda means knowledge. But actually, even if I say perfect knowledge, there's no point writing that, because knowledge means it should be perfect. But nowadays, so-called knowledge in schools and colleges, science, they'll teach something and then change it. So I have to put this point. Perfect knowledge. Veda means knowledge which cannot change because it's fully perfect and complete. It's not going to change. That is Veda. For example, 2 + 2 is 4. So that is perfect knowledge. Yeah, I was saying 2 + 2 is 4. So that's perfect knowledge. People have this concept that Veda is only the 4 Vedas. That is true, but if you understand what is concept of Veda, then we can understand that a lot of other things are Veda. Okay, for the concept of Veda is when anything that is perfect knowledge, because perfect knowledge comes from perfect source, from God. Okay, 2 + 2 is equal to 4. Is it true? Yes. And if someone realized that knowledge, that means they realized the Veda in some part. Anything else? Okay, an acid combined with a base gives us salt. Okay, that is also Veda, because knowledge has, if someone finds out that knowledge, that means Veda has been revealed to him to that extent. So in this way, Veda knowledge is given by God, and not according to our, you can say, piety, karma, according to that we are given knowledge. Not everyone is given all knowledge. Even for someone to be born and go through some kind of education system, that is punya. Not everyone will get that opportunity. So knowledge, Veda, is revealed according to qualification. Okay, so when we say Veda, we normally understand Rig, Sama, Yajur, and Atharva. Okay, but as I mentioned, it's also any knowledge which is true, because the Veda has all knowledge. All of it may not be extant present at the moment, but it can come. You might have heard, I mentioned before here once, that there's the Veda which explains how to construct flying objects, Vimana. 100 years ago was revealed to a Brahmana here in South India, Vaimanik Shastra. He drew and wrote everything down, and it's on the internet. If you want, you can see it. And that we have a case of Veda revealing. Like that, anything can reveal. In the Sri Sampradaya, there were a series of prayers given by some paraphernalia of Vishnu. Vishnu's paraphernalia, like his Sudarshan, not his Sudarshan, his Paduka, his like Gada, different parts of Vishnu, they descended in Tamil Nadu, the first, and they came in the first one came just after Krishna departed, 5,000 years ago. They offered prayers, and those prayers were recorded. But in course of time, they got lost. That was Veda. It's known as Tamil Veda. It's Veda because it's perfect from divine source and giving perfect knowledge. So it got lost. But subsequently, all of that knowledge came back. There was a way, some personality came, and through him they manifested again. So Veda can manifest anytime, and there's no bar, there's no bounds, because it's from God. If Krishna wants, he can give us something or take it back. One example is Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is so perfect and complete, but it was not manifest before on such a wide scale. At the appropriate time, it came out, and now it's available to so many people. But it's a perfect knowledge which was not so much in previous ages, not so much revealed. It was not required. So Veda can be revealed or taken back according to Krishna's will. Okay. It simply follows Krishna's what he wants to, what is his purpose to achieve. So according to that, the Veda is brought or not brought. Like in Kali Yuga, it's taken away because people have to be punished. Okay, but this is the golden age. I hope you know what the golden age is. It's that age when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes. Krishna is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Within Kali Yuga, it turns into a Satya Yuga for a short time. So in this time, Bhagavatam is manifest, Gita is spread all over the world, and Veda and Ved Gyan in the form of Prabhupada's teachings has been accessible to everyone. So in that way, we see that Krishna wanted it to come. It came, but it will go again after 10,000 years, or let's say 9,500 years. No, not really. 9,000, correct, 500, because Mahaprabhu came 500 years ago. This is the golden age. Okay, so back to the topic here, that meaning of Veda, perfect knowledge. It can manifest and unmanifest. Anything which is perfect knowledge, anything which is knowledge, it's from the Veda revealed. Shabda Brahman, another word describing the Veda is Shabda Brahman, transcendental sound. Shabda is sound, Brahman is transcendental. Because the Veda, actually now it's being it was written down by Vyasadeva. Before that, the Veda was not written down. Another name for Veda is Shruti, because it was passed down through oral reception, through certain people, Brahmanas, who were purified in mind and thought and consciousness, and they were chosen to transmit the transcendental sound down parampara. So they were paramparas of all the different Vedas, and still some are there, but mostly fading away. Shabda Brahman, another name for Veda. Transcendental sound because it's from a transcendental source, Krishna. And it is from Krishna, so Krishna is transcendental. So the Veda is transcendental also. And if we read it, study it, and follow it, we become transcendental. So in this way, transcendental sound is transferred. Okay, and it was recorded in the text. So the fact that it's in text is no less potent. If someone chants, it will have effect, but it will only have effect if we follow the system of how we should follow it. That is Vedic methodology. We'll come to that soon, just now. Another meaning of Veda is that it is sound which directs one to Vishnu. Ultimately, the Vedas take us to Vishnu. This is the quality of the Vedas. And therefore, some people say sometimes that we'll only accept the 4 Vedas and anything else is not Veda. We accept Chaitanya Charitamrita spoken by Mahaprabhu. It was Life and Teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu written by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, who was a disciple and follower of one of the 6 Goswamis. I think it's Raghunath Bhatt Goswami and Rupa also. So under their shiksha, he attained to knowledge, and they told him to write down the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he wrote down the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but before writing them, he said that I'm not qualified to write this. I'm 90 years old, my hand is shaking, and my vision has gone. How am I going to write a book, such an elaborate text? So they told him, no, you should write it. So he wrote it, and because he was purified, because he was submissive to his gurus, and he had a pure, sincere attitude to serve Guru and Krishna. So he acted as a medium for transmitting Veda, and he wrote down the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which we accept as Veda. Why do we accept it as Veda? Because the conclusion of Chaitanya Charitamrita is to surrender to Krishna. And it is not contradicting Vedic knowledge. It is rather it's reintroducing it. So it is Veda. It is Smriti, and the personality who wrote it down, he acted as the medium. So now Chaitanya Charitamrita is spiritual sound vibration recorded. He wrote it down. If we chant it, it has the same potency. So Veda, it may be written down, but it's still called sound vibration. It's called Shruti. Okay, that is directs one to Vishnu. Okay, Veda directs one to. This is a quality of the Vedas, that it will direct one to Vishnu. We look at this 2 verses here. Bhagavad Gita 3.10. Sahayagya praja srishtva purovacha prajapatihi anena prasavishyadvam esho ist ashtaka esho vost ishtakamadhuk. Bhagavad Gita 3.10. Translation. In the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures sent forth generations of men and demigods, along with sacrifices for Vishnu, and blessed them by saying, "Be thou happy by this yajna sacrifice, because its performance will bestow upon you everything desirable for living happily and achieving liberation." I emphasize the end here. I mentioned that the Veda directs one to Vishnu. What is the qualification of Veda? It directs one to Vishnu. It may not be the original Shruti, it may be later on, it came like Chaitanya Charitamrita, but if it directs one to Vishnu and gives guidance and knowledge to attain liberation, then that is Veda. Okay, so this is the purpose of the Vedas, to direct one to Vishnu. Okay, let's look at another verse. Okay, meaning of Veda, I said, you should direct on to Vishnu. So now, confirmation of that, Bhagavad Gita chapter 15, text 15, Vedesha sarver aham eva vedyo. Translation, Krishna says, I am the goal of the Vedas. Sarver aham eva vedyo. By reading all the Vedas, the aim is simply to know me, Vedyo. Okay, goal of Veda is to know God. That's all. That is the purpose of the Vedas. Okay, so we looked at these 3 points on meaning of Veda. It's perfect knowledge. It is transcendental sound originating from God. It directs one to Vishnu, as mentioned in these 2 verses. Okay, let's look now at the process of acquiring knowledge and perfection through Veda. Process of acquiring knowledge. When we say knowledge, it's not normal material knowledge. It is Gyan. That means knowledge of my identity as a soul and eternal servant of Krishna. At the moment, I theoretically know that, but I have not realized it. How can I realize it? That means that knowledge has to manifest in my heart. So what is the process of acquiring that? Let's look at that. Okay, and perfection through the Vedas. So process of acquiring knowledge and perfection through Veda, basically it means the concept of the Pramanic Guru. Prabhupada uses the word bona fide spiritual master. Pramanic Guru, that bona fide. If we want to know how to get perfection, as I said, so many people have their own opinions on Veda and attaining perfection. And sometimes you have 10 people in the room. That means you have 10 opinions. But why should we accept anyone's opinion? They're in Maya. There are people who study the Vedas, especially in the West, armchair philosopher, Indologists, and they give their own interpretation. What is Veda? How to study it? And how old is it? But we simply have to look in the Veda itself. If we look in the Veda will tell us how to study it, how to acquire the knowledge of it, and how old it is. Okay, and Prabhupada gave example in Bhagavad Gita like a medicine. If you want to know how to take the medicine, just read the bottle. We don't have to ask so many people. The bottle says it. So if you want to know about the Veda, we should look in the Veda itself. Okay, so process is given in the Vedas. Okay, we look at it. Concept of Pramanic Guru. 2 words are here, Pramanic and Guru. Pramanic means bona fide. Praman means that Pramanic, in other words, he's following the proper systems, the Pramanas. He's following the proper system of Veda. Okay, and he's a Guru. Guru means heavy. Opposite of Guru is Laghu. So why is he called heavy? Two reasons. One is that he's heavy with knowledge. Second, he's heavy in the sense that his instruction or mode of disciplining his disciples is heavy. And it has to be heavy because Maya is heavy. And if the Guru is not heavy, then Maya will take us away. We'll flow on the current of Maya. The current of birth and death. This is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhava Pravaho. Bhava Pravaha. Pravaha means current, just like if you're in a river. And this happens in Mayapur frequently, that there's a powerful current, undercurrent or top current, and you are just swept away. You cannot do anything, even if you can swim. So in the same way, Bhava Pravaha, this current of birth and death is very strong. It will sweep you away. You cannot do anything. So the Guru has to be strong to push the disciple into the proper path. Otherwise, Maya will push him. Pramanic Guru. Okay, process of acquiring knowledge and perfection through Veda. The 4 sampradayas for getting knowledge in Kali Yuga. We have to come into one of the 4 sampradayas which are mentioned in Kali Yuga. We look at these 3 things. Okay. So first point, Pramanic Guru. In order to describe the Guru, There are many verses given in Shastra. Now we're going to look at two of them, okay, which are repeated often by Srila Prabhupada. This comes in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 3, Text 21. Tasmad Gurum Prapadyeta Jigyasu Shreya Uttamam Shabde Pare Chanishnatam Brahmani Upashramashrayam. Translation: therefore, any person who seriously desires real happiness must seek a bona fide spiritual master and take shelter of him by initiation. The qualification of the bona fide guru is that he has realized the conclusions of the scriptures by deliberation and is able to convince others of these conclusions. Such great personalities who have taken shelter of the Supreme Godhead, leaving aside all material considerations, should be understood to be bona fide spiritual masters. Okay, let us analyze this verse. It comes in a chapter titled Liberation from Illusory Energy, and there's no question of liberation without accepting the Guru. All right, so now look at the key words. Gurum Prapadyeta. Guru means spiritual master. Prapadyeta, one should take shelter of. Jigyasu, being inquisitive. We should not just take a guru and then go to sleep. No, we have to be inquisitive and ask. Okay, but of course, service should be there. But the point is that we are supposed to inquire and use and be actively try to understand the philosophy. Jigyasu Shreya Uttamam. Shreya Uttamam. Okay, this is often Srila Prabhupada, he would speak about this concept of Shreya and prayer. Shreya, prayer means benefit or anything leading to happiness on the present moment, temporary benefit. That is prayer. Shreya means something which leads to good in the long term. And an example is given by Srila Prabhupada that a child doesn't want to go to school. This is a material example. So he wants to stay home so that he can enjoy and not go to school. Okay, then he will enjoy, but what will happen later? He will not study and he will suffer, having no qualification. That is prayer. But Shreya means something which he'll do. Now it's not giving enjoyment or result, but in the long term, he gets a good result. So we are being told in this verse, Jigyasu Shreya Uttamam. We have to ask the Guru for the benefit in the long run, the highest good. Okay, then the verse says, Shabde Pare Chanishnatam. This is the qualification of a Guru. Shabde, that is, Shabda means Veda. Shabde means in connection with the Veda. So he should be Nishnatam. Nishnatam is translated as, we can say we can say knowledge. Nishnatam, we can say perfect knowledge, but a more poetic meaning of this is, you can say submerged. Submerged. It's something like when you dip in water and then inside water, then we are completely surrounded by water. Everything is wet, our cloth and the inside, it goes in our ears completely. So the Guru is Shabde Pare. Shabda means in Veda. Shabde, Veda. Para means is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he's completely immersed in the knowledge of Veda, basically, actually I should finish the whole thing. Brahmani Upashramashrayam. So Brahmani, it means in these two aspects of the absolute truth, Shabda and Para. So the whole thing means that the Guru is fully immersed in knowledge of Veda and God. He's completely immersed. It means he's thinking that, he's speaking that, he's thinking and speaking and living and teaching only about God and knowledge of Veda and Bhagavan, which is the same thing actually. So, upashramashrayam, fixed in detachment from material world. Fixed in detachment from material world and immersed in knowledge of God and Veda. This is quality of the Guru. Otherwise, how can he take us out? Because he has to be not in this world. There's one story of in once Srila Prabhupada was giving a lecture in America, and in the audience was a young woman, and I remember hearing this a few days ago, Bhagavad Gita lecture. So that woman asked Prabhupada, after hearing so much of his knowledge, that she asked him, "Are you of this world, Prabhupada?" So then everyone laughed, and then Prabhupada answered, "No, I'm not of this world." Then everyone became silent. So then Prabhupada explained that if someone comes to America, but he doesn't take up the culture of America, he doesn't take up the way of life of America, doesn't speak the language, doesn't wear the dress, then he is not in America. That's example, practical example. So Prabhupada said, I'm in this material world, but I'm not doing material things. I'm not reading material literature. I'm not thinking material thoughts. I don't have material desire. I mean, I'm paraphrasing exactly what he said, not exactly what he said. So he said, therefore, I'm not part of this world. So he made this point that if we are not following the material ways, we are not part of it. So the Guru is like that. He's fully immersed in Shastra, should be speaking Shastra, writing Shastra, hearing Shastra, everything to do with Shastra, speaking, hearing, thinking. And then he's connected, then he's not of this world. Only then can he pull us out. Somebody who's not drowning, only he can pull the other person out. He should be in the ship or helicopter. So in that way, one who is not of this world, only he can rescue. So even whatever he writes, the Guru's writing should be Veda. It should not be anything else, mundane. Okay, so in that way, these are qualifications according to that verse I just quoted. Okay. Tasmad Gurum Prapadyata Jigyasu Shvayatvam Shabde Pare Chanishnatam Brahmani Upashramashayam. Surrender to the Guru. Tasmad Gurum Prapadyata. Approach, surrender to the Guru. Jigyasu Shvayatvam. Inquire as to the best, highest good, highest path. Shabde Pare Chanishnatam Brahmani Upashramashayam. The Guru, this is second to third line, is saying that he is fully immersed in knowledge of the Veda and God, and Upashram Ashrayam, he is detached from the material affairs. Okay, next, another verse. These are two often quoted verses by Srila Prabhupada. This is from Mundak Upanishad 1.2.12. Tad Vijnanartham Sagurum eva bigachet samitpani shrotriyam brahmanishtham. Translation: to learn the transcendental subject matter, one must approach a spiritual master. In doing so, he should carry fuel to burn in sacrifice. The symptom of such a spiritual master is that he is expert in understanding the Vedic conclusion, and therefore he constantly engages in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, if we analyze this, tad vijnanartham. Vijnana is spiritual knowledge, transcendental knowledge. Artham, gain it. Tad vijnana artham, gain this knowledge. Sa gurum, through the Guru. Eva bigachet. When Srila Prabhupada describes this verse, very often he speaks about this particular word, saying that in Sanskrit, Eva bigachet is like imperative. You must do it. That is he's pushing. Eva bigachet, you must approach if you want to get transcendental knowledge like that. Okay, then when we, and then Samit Pani, the Pani means carrying, Samit means the fuel for the fire. In other words, when we go to the Guru, we should not go empty-handed. Okay, now these two words are very important. Shrotriyam, Shrotriya comes from word Shravan, Shrnu. Shrotriya means he has heard. The word here is he is expert in understanding Vedic conclusion. But exact word is that he has heard in parampara. One who has heard in parampara. Shrotriyam. Okay. Yeah, it's a very deep word. So that is the limitation of English and Sanskrit. Shrotriyam comes from a shrunu or shravan here. So the Guru has heard in parampara. He has heard the proper source of knowledge. Therefore, he has proper knowledge and he can pass it on. So Guru must be Shrotriya, should have heard in parampara. Okay, it's important to understand all this knowledge. Otherwise, we don't know what is a Guru. Then anyone who's not a Guru will cheat us, and then we'll miss the goal of life. So he should have heard in parampara. That means that if we accept a Guru, the Guru must be in parampara himself. And being in parampara, not just to Diksha, but he heard from the Guru, his Guru. He heard the message. Only then can he speak it. Okay. Here, Brahmanishtam. Nishta means fixed, very fixed. Brahmanishta means he's fixed in Brahman. Again, like the previous verse, Brahmanishta means that he's fixed in spiritual consciousness. Therefore, he constantly engages in the service of the Supreme. Okay, it says here, of course, if you're fixed in spiritual consciousness, you'll always be serving God, because you're being fixed means that we understand that we are servant of God and we are meant to serve God. That is our dharma as a jiva, eternal servant of God. Jeev Krishna Das. E Vishwas karle to aar koi dukha nahi. So the Guru is fully absorbed in serving God without cessation. There is no holiday, there is no time off. Always serving. Brahmanishtam. Then he's fixed in Brahman, in the spiritual consciousness. And again, therefore, he's able to put someone in a spiritual consciousness because he's in that consciousness. Okay. Pramanic Guru concept here we are speaking. And why? Because we are finding the process of acquiring knowledge and perfection through Veda. Okay, Pramanic Guru. Okay, now this, the 4 sampradayas for getting knowledge in Kali Yuga. In every age, it's the way of getting spiritual perfection is different. But one thing is there, common, is that we have to take shelter of Guru. In Satya, Treta, Dwapar Yuga, the Guru would be, maybe you could say, more available and less cheating. That who is a Guru says he's a Guru, he's a Guru. We can know that. In Kali Yuga, the concept of the Pramanic Guru now is been or restricted to 4 sampradayas. Okay, so the 4 sampradayas that one can accept a Guru. Again, these are topics you know, some of you. Now, this verse is mentioned, or 2 or 3 verses, that the 4 sampradayas for getting knowledge in Kali Yuga. That is coming in Padma Purana and also in Garga Samhita. Now we're going to look at this. It's quite deep actually. Okay. Padma Purana, text 5. Then we have text 6, 2 texts. Yad uktam Padma Purane sampradaya vihinaye mantraste nishvalamataha atakalo bhavishyanti chatvara sampradayinaha Shri Brahma Rudra Sanaka Vaishnava Kshti Pavanaha Chatvaraste Kalo Bhavya Hyutkale Purushottamat. There's a word-to-word translation. Yat, which, Uktam is spoken. Padma Purane, in the Padma Purana. It's written, Padma Purana. Sampradaya Vihina. Those who are not connected in a bona fide sampradaya. Ye, those who. Mantras. Te, they, nishvalamata, without result. Mata, ishvala, without result. Mata are considered. Ata, for this reason, Kalo, in the age of Kali, Bhavishanti, there will be chatvara, 4 sampradaya, bona fide disciplic successions. Shri from Lakshmi Devi, Brahma from Lord Brahma, Rudra from Lord Shiva, Sanaka and from Sanak and the Kumara sons of Brahma, Vaishnavaha in relation to Lord Vishnu, Kshati, the world, Pavanaha, purifying, Chatvara, 4, Te, they, Kalau, in the age of Kali, Bhavya will be, he, indeed, Utkale in Orissa, Purushottama from Jagannath Puri. The Padma Purana explains, unless one is initiated by a bona fide spiritual master in the disciplic succession, the mantra he might have received is without any effect. For this reason, 4 Vaishnava disciplic successions inaugurated by Lakshmi Devi, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and the 4 Kumaras will appear in the holy place of Jagannath Puri and purify the entire earth during the age of Kali. The 4 Sampradayas will give knowledge in Kali Yuga. There is no other source. We have to connect to those Sampradayas by accepting a bona fide member as a guru and becoming a disciple, following the traditions of those Sampradayas. It says here that if we do not do this, any mantra will not have effect that he might have received. Now there's so many people chanting so many mantras given by so many various different gurus, so-called, or personalities, babas, yogis, etc. But no effect. Nishvalamata. There will be no effect because they are not in the Sampradaya. This is in Padma Purana, text 5. Now, next Padma Purana in text 6, it's continuing. Ramanujam Shri Svi Chakre Madhvacharyam Chaturmukha Shri Vishnu Swaminam Rudro Nimbadityam Chatusanaha. Padma Purana, text 6. Ramanujam Shri Lakshmi Devi Svi Chakre selected Madhvacharya Chaturmukha Lord Brahma, Shri Vishnu Swaminam, Vishnu Swami, Rudra, Lord Shiva, Nimbadityam, Nimbark, Chatusana, the 4 Kumars. Translation: Lakshmi Devi chose Ramanujacharya to represent her disciplic succession. In the same way, Lord Brahma chose Madhvacharya, Lord Shiva chose Vishnu Swami, and the 4 Kumaras chose Nimbarka. So this is Vedic knowledge that this was written approximately 5,000 years ago when Vyasadeva wrote the Vedas. But all these personalities came recently. Okay, even their names are given. The names of the personalities and the successions, disciplic succession. So that is Veda, Triyuga, Trikalagya, knowledge of past, present, and future. This is Padma Purana, exactly given, text 5, text 6. Okay, now we're going to next. This is a long text, so it's small characters. This is in Garga Samhita 10.61.23, 24, 25, 26. 4 verses. Vamanas vidhi shesha sanakyo Vishnu vakyataha dharmartha hetave chaite bhavishyanti dvijakalau. Vishnu Swami Vamanam Ashas Tatha Madhvastu Brahmanaha Ramanujastu Sheshangsha Nimbaditya Sanakasya Ete Kalau Yuge Bhavya Sampradaya Pravartakaha Samvatsare Vikrama Chatvara Kshiti Pavanaha Sampradaya Vihina Ye Mantraste Nishfala Smritaha Tasma Cha Gamanam Hyasti Sampradaya Narayarapi. Translation: Vamana, Brahma, Ananta Shesh, and Sanaka Kumar will appear as Brahmanas by the order of Vishnu for the preservation of Dharma in Kali Yuga. Vishnu Swami, Madhva, Ramanuja, and Nimbaditya will appear respectively as Angshas, parts of Vamana Brahma, Anantashesh, and Sanat Kumar. These four saviors of earth will be the founders of the four Sampradayas in the period from the reign of King Vikrama, subsequently through Kali Yuga. These four Sampradayas are yet to be accepted by all people as mantras, these four Sampradayas are to be accepted by all people as mantras invoked outside their auspices bring no result. So it's mentioned here now, we can see that we can see in both verses. One thing is that they were written, they were actually given a long time back. As I mentioned, 5,000 years back at least. Okay, but they're giving knowledge of future names of the acharyas and the sampradayas. There is a common claim by some people that these verses are not in the Veda. Okay, this is not true, because they've been quoted by many acharyas previous. Baladev Vidyabhushan, many past acharyas have quoted these verses, and sometimes in the Vedas, when someone wants a copy, they write down, they get a scribe. A scribe is someone who will copy the Veda. Like, you want a copy because there was no printing press. So I want a copy. So in that, some verses here and there are a little different here and there. But because of the, you can say, eternal energy of Krishna, the knowledge which is meant to be spread cannot be stopped. We cannot, whatever human error or ability cannot stop knowledge which Krishna wants to manifest. So these verses were quoted before by acharyas, and it's in their books. So then, even if in future they say these verses are not there and they changed some part of the Veda, but we accept the acharyas of the past who mentioned them. And anyway, you can find them on the internet, basically. This is, it's present there. Okay, so this is showing us that one cannot, that for someone to come to attain Vedic knowledge, they have to follow these processes. Okay, the process of acquiring knowledge. Okay, we looked at it as process. One has to take shelter of a Pramanic Guru who is in the four Sampradayas. Okay, so this is essential. This is the process of acquiring knowledge. We must come in the four Sampradayas as given in the Veda itself. I mentioned, how do we get perfection? We have to do it by following what the Veda says. And Veda says in Kali Yuga, there is only four Sampradayas, and we have to come in one of the Sampradayas. Okay, but it also mentions about a Pramanic Guru, because people could be saying we're in this Sampradaya, but not being a Pramanic, following the Sampradaya. Okay, so that comes later. We're going to look at the topic after this. Okay, we looked at Sampradaya. Now next is Sampradayic principles. Okay, now we'll not do that today. Okay, and so we'll stop here for now. If anyone has questions, you can ask now. Okay. Okay, so anyone can either speak in the mic or type it on chat if there is any question. A lot of what I said is already some familiar, but to understand about Sampradaya, we have to understand Veda, because Ved Gyan can only be transmitted through a bona fide source. Now you may say, but the Veda is written down. Why shall I go to any bona fide source? I can just take it. I can just read it. You will read it, but who gives knowledge? Krishna. He says, I am in the heart, mata smritim jnanam apohanam cha. He will not manifest the knowledge of that the verse is meant to give. It will be selective. One who satisfies the condition will have knowledge manifested. And therefore, every morning I see some question, I'll come to it just now. Every morning we sing Divya Gyan Hridaya Prakashito. By the mercy of the Guru, transcendental knowledge manifests in the heart. So two people may be doing the same thing, same bhakti process, chanting, reading, and whatever service, but one is taken shelter of a guru, one did not. The one who took shelter of a guru took shelter and following, and the guru is following. The chain has to be linked to the sampradaya. So when he does that, then Divya Gyan Hridaya Prakashita, knowledge will manifest in the heart, but Krishna will not manifest it unless we follow the system. And therefore we say Guru manifests the knowledge. He's representing Krishna, and through him it comes. Okay, so therefore, if we are not in the sampradaya, that will not happen. If we are, it will happen. Okay, question. Who is Rudra? Okay, Rudra is mentioned as Shiva, Lord Shiva. It is his sampradaya. Next question. The four sampradayas are through Brahma, Rudra, four Kumaras, and Shiva. Yes, that is correct. Those are the four No, not that. Brahma, Rudra, Kumaras, and Lakshmi. Those are the four personalities through whom the knowledge of the comes. Okay. Okay, I think that's it. And no more questions, is it? Okay. All right. So Hare Krishna, and see you tomorrow. We'll continue the remaining part. Okay.